Hello everyone, welcome to the final part of this dress that we're making. So if you haven't seen the first one, please kindly go to my channel and watch the part one of this dress. Okay, I forgot to mention on the first part, that's the first video of this sketch, that the neckline on the thumbnail is different. So for this dress is the same, but the neckline is different. So the neckline I'm using is Queen Anne neckline. So please kindly take note of that. But if you don't want to do Queen Anne neckline, you could just do the normal neckline that is on the thumbnail. Thank you so much. So this is me. I'm trying to mark out the zip allowance, because that is very important. That's the first thing you do after taking your two piece for the skirt. Mark your zip allowance, and then mark, you can come down by 8 or by 11, depends on how big your butt is at the back. It all depends on how it is. And then from that part at the down, to create your slit, you go by 10. As I've done that, you go by 10, and then you give it a loose stitches from that point to that point and tighten it and sew it very tight to that point, and then give it a loose stitches. So I'm going to do that and then show you how it is. So I've gone ahead to do that, and so this is what we have right now. So this video is a bit fast because it's very long. So after giving it a loose stitches like I mentioned earlier, so make sure you give it a good press, please. This is very important. You give it a very good press so that that place would sit very well. At the end of this video, you are going to see how it's going to be sitting on me. But whatever you're doing, make sure you give it a good press. If you don't have lights, you can do the manual way of ironing. All right, so I've gone ahead to do that, and then I'm just going to place this aside and pick up the next the front the front skirt where we need to join. So at this part, it all depends on what you want. Either you want to do it that, or you don't want to do it that. It all depends on your preference. So this is me. I'm trying to mark out the center point of the front skirt and then mark out my dart. So your front dart differs from your back dart. But for me, sometimes it all depends on the fabric I'm working with. So for this dart, I'm going to be coming down by 6.5, or yeah, I'm going to come down by 6.5 or by 6. So that actually does not really have a standard measurement. Some people can come down by 4. This is just for you to know that different things work for different persons. So you are going to sew with half an inch on both sides. And so I'm done sewing with half an inch on both sides, and then I'm going to give it a good press, which I've gone ahead to do that. So this is me trying to show you how it matches with the half length of the top. So you got to place your lining, you place your lining to cover up that front part. And this is the Queen Anne neckline. Apologies, I have cold, so that is why I'm standing this way. So on that part, you sew with half an inch to cover the neckline. You have to cover you can see I had to mark it out, and I've gone ahead to do that and give it a top stitch. You see how neat it is. You give it a top stitch and place it outside. Make sure you give it a top stitch and then give it a good press. After top stitching, give it a good press so it would relax, so it will sit very well. Even after sewing, everything is well relaxed on your body. So this is me. I'm trying to give it a very good press so it would relax very well. You can see how it is. So please make sure you work with your steam iron. The iron I'm using is a steam iron, and I got it from a vendor of mine. If you're interested, kindly let me know on the comment section, so I would refer and share a contact across to you. So I'm going to place that aside, because that is the first thing you're going to do before turning your half length. That is this upper part. So if you have to pad, I'm not padding because this is just a tutorial. If you need to pad the bustier area, please do pad. It's also good you pad so that your bust will be fuller. You to give it a very fine effect. So you have to work with your pin at this point, and then pin your neckline. That is this Queen Anne neckline. You pin it down before placing your lining on top, because we are trying to turn it. I always there's this I call it English turning sewing. That's the way me I call it. Different things work for different seamstress. So you are going to place your lining on top after pinning that part. If you don't understand this, just watch this again. It's not difficult. When you place your lining on top, also pin, and then you pin carefully. Ensure that you are not pinning on where you are going to be sewing through. Okay, you can see I'm taking my time. I'm taking my time to pin this. I know the video is a bit fast, but please just kindly bear with me. So, and then you sew with half an inch. If you have to do a sweetheart curve, you go ahead to do that. So you just sew with half an inch on that part, and then do a top stitching. After sewing, do a top stitching, which, like, the top stitching is just what I did on that other one. So you can see how neat it is. So I've gone ahead to sew, and then I did a top stitch. So at this point, I'm going to iron it so it would relax. You can see the top stitching I did. I'm going to iron it so it would relax very well. Please work with your steam iron. If you don't have a steam iron, you can do the manual one. But for every part you're sewing, always work with your steam iron. Work with your steam iron. It's very important. You can see how it's sitting. Oh, earlier I didn't mention that when you are top stitching or sewing, please use your hemming gum. It's very important so that it would sit very well while you're ironing. That part will relax very well. If you don't know how to do this, to let me know in the comment section so I could do a video on how to sew with hemming gum that it would sit on your neckline. So this is bust arm. This one I didn't buy it, I had to create it myself. I got several pieces of fabrics, and then I had to use a lighter tape to cover it up. So you could do the manual one. If you know you can't afford to get the bust arm, you could just do this part. This one I did. But if you don't know how to do this, also let me know. I'll do a video and show you how to go about it, how to do your manual bust arm. So you can see how I'm ironing. If you have a bust arm, please iron with your bust arm. Iron with your bust arm, and then that part, the princess, that it would sit very well. It won't budge out. It won't be puffing out and all of that. Most especially when you are not padding. When you are padding, it makes it sit very well. So I'm going to place this aside, and then the next that is left is to put the back lining with the back fabric, put them together just the way we did for the front. You're also going to do the same for the back. If you have any excesses, you just have to trim. So at this point, I'm just going to show you how this process is. So you sew with half an inch, and you sew with half an inch top stitch. After top stitching, and then you sew the side of where the zip is going to be. So I'm done with that part, and then I'm going to pick up the front. So at this point, we want to join them together. So if you have and overlocking, that is a weaving machine. After joining, please do that. But before I join that, I need to close up my side because the side of the skirt was also closed. So you close with half an inch on one side and also close with half an inch on the other side. And after closing, make sure you give it a good press. Make sure you give it a good press. So I'm done closing on the other side, and then I had to join it together. Remember I said you should close it and then join it together. So after closing one side, I had to join the skirt with the half length of the top together. I know this lining doesn't match, it's just a tutorial, so can you bear with me? But when you're sewing yours, please use a matched lining. So I'm gonna have to pick the back. So for the back, I'm going to open that part. I said we should give it a loose stitch. That is why I said give it a loose stitch, not a very tight stitch. Please don't forget to give it a loose stitch to the point where you have to tighten it, where you continue sewing with a tight stitch. So you have to open up to that point. If you, there's what they use in taking out thread, I can't remember the name. If you know you have it, you do that. But mind you, if you don't have it, be careful of how you're loosening your skirt, so you won't mistakenly tear it. So I've gone ahead to open. You see, the purpose why we always iron is for us to have that effect for the zipper line. So when you're sewing, you would see the line where you are sewing on the zipper. So at this point, I need to take the darts for the back. So I have to take that for the back and then join them together. If you notice, they are not equal because I've not taken the dart for the back. So I'm going to take the dart for the back and then show you how it is. So I've gone ahead to take the dart for the two sides and then I had to join it together. I needed to be a bit fast on this video because I noticed it was taking lots of time. But it's not difficult. If you don't understand, just take your time and watch this again. And if you have any question, do let me know on the comment section. So at this point, I've gone ahead to fix the zipper. If you don't know how to fix a zipper, also let me know. I'll show you how to do that. And also, this is the belt for the side of the dress. It's not important, but for me, I just feel like I should do something different. So at this point, this is where we'll do our final fitting, where we'll start marking out the original measurement. So at this point, to make it easy for you, if you remember the measurements you use as allowance, the measurement either you took out 2 or 1.5, you just start marking it on the side. So that's another technique I recently found that, and I noticed it was good because I had to try it out before doing this video. So whatever allowance you add on your waistline, you mark it out on both sides. If it's 1 inch or 1.5, you just mark it on both sides. So this is my hip line I'm trying to mark. I always use 2 lines for my hip line. My original hip depth is 8. I go up by 2. If your hip depth is 10, go up by 2 again. So you mark on your hip line on the both the 8 and the 10, so you don't start doing another adjustment. You can see I'm marking 2 lines. My hip depth originally is 8, but I went up by 2. You get? So it's not difficult. It's 8, I went up by 2, and then I just had to mark the line, my original hip measurement on those lines. So at this part, at the down part, you just take out 1, because at that part we did not do any allowance, and then you mark these lines together, connect them together. You can see how easy it is, and this style is beginning to come alive. It's beginning to have a very beautiful shape already, even before sewing. So it's not difficult. Whatever allowance you had, you added on the hip or the waist or the bust or the under bust, you just mark it on both sides and then connect your lines together. When you connect your lines together, and then you sew. So that's the easiest way. And so when you want to sew, please ensure you sew from the down, don't sew from the up. So at this point, I want to put my fabrics together. I understand my table is not very wide, so you might not be able to see a lot that I'm doing, but just walk along with me. But while before you sew, don't close your shoulder. Please don't close your shoulder. Make sure you sew from the down. Make sure you sew from the down. Use a pin if you can pin it. It's actually better you pin for you to have a good result. so one side will not be bigger than the other side. If you notice, I have to remove my pin and make sure it's equal on both sides. So make sure you sew from the down. You can see I'm marking out this chalk again, so you would see it very well. So sew from that down. Don't sew from the up. Don't sew from the arm, or sew from your skirt at the down, from your gown at the down. I mean, sew all the way up, all the way up for both the two sides. So I've gone ahead to sew, and then I added my belt, and so this is what we have already. After sewing, while I was sewing, I added the belt, and you can see the neat finishing. I needed to give it a very good press, so you can see how beautiful it is already. And then I'm just trying to check out my measurement, of which it came out nice. So at this point, if you notice, the one shoulder is longer than the other. That's not to worry. Just open up, and then you pick one side of the shoulder, that is material facing material. You use the lining to turn. I think I've done a video on this before. Watch one of our previous video. I think that should be on the crown neckline dress that I did. I actually emphasize on how to close up very well neatly, how to close your shoulder very neatly. So I'm going to take this again. So you pick your material, either the front or the back. You put them together. That is, the material is facing each other. The two material on one side of the shoulder should face each other, and then you pick one lining, either from the back or the front. You pick one lining to turn everything. So automatically one lining is turning everything. Just watch out what I'm doing. If you don't understand this process, you watch over and over again. You can see I've used it to turn it. So originally the two linings are all together, and then the material are still together. Then you sew with half an inch. So it's not difficult. I've gone ahead and I've done that for the front and the back, and then it's time for you can see how neat it is. I'm just trying to show you. You can see how neat it is. So at this point, I have to trim off. You trim off a bit. While you're trimming, don't go too deep while you're trimming. So you can see I'm doing for the both sides, and after I've gone ahead to trim, I'm going to make it also equal very, very well. So I'm done. I'm just going to place this aside, and then we're going to move on to drafting out the sleeve on the pattern paper. So you just pick a bit of a piece, and the sleeve I'm doing is a bit of it's going to have a bit of a puff at the shoulder. So the original length is 8, which I've gone ahead to mark, and then I went up by 5. This is just a tutorial. If you want to go up by either 6, 8, it all depends on your preference. So I went up by 5, I came down by 8, 8 plus 5. The total length there is 13. So this is my round sleeve. I'm trying to mark out my round sleeve. If you don't know how to take a round sleeve, that's how to take it. If you still want more explanation, visit one of my videos on my channel on full body measurement. So trying to mark up my round sleeve and give it allowance, and then I've gone ahead to do that, and so I'm just going to be cutting out on the pattern paper. You can also do this on your fabric, but I always like to do it on my pattern paper just to save fabric. So it's advisable to always cut anything you want to do on your pattern paper. So I'm just trying to check out the measurement to see if it fits and all of that. So that's how to take your round sleeve. Make sure it's not very tight, and my round sleeve is, I'm going to be using 13. I don't want to use 12 because it will be too tight for me. So this part, that will be the folded part on your fabric. So you're going to fold your fabric very well, and then you cut 2 pieces. make sure you cut two pieces. Cut out two pieces. So I'm trying to make sure that they are equal. You can see I had to just do a lot of check-ins, and don't forget to add your sewing allowance on that sleeve cap and also on the down of the sleeve. I forgot to mention that on the on the on the other part of the video. Please make sure you add your sewing allowance to it, and then you notch. So that's how to notch and give it a very good press. This will help you when you are marking the notched parts on your sleeve. So I need to make it very equal, and then we'll start sewing there to make it very well. If you need to add more allowance, please add more allowance on your sleeve. This is just a tutorial for me. When I'm making for myself or for a client, I always add extra allowance because sometimes they need that extra allowance on that part of the sleeve. Please make sure you add extra allowance. So I've gone ahead to open up my zip, and then you can see how I'm trying to fix the sleeve. Please watch carefully the front side facing the front side of the sleeve, and then you see I'm trying to mark out. So the excess will be the part where I'm going to pleat. Remember we talked about pleating. The excess will be on that part. So I'm done doing that. So the next thing, this is how the dress looks like. So I'm going to have to fix the sleeve. If you need a video of how I did the sleeve, just let me know in the comment section. So fixing of the sleeve is not difficult. At this part, I'm trying to explain how the neckline is sitting. You remember we on the first part of the video, which is the part one of the video, the neck width was 2.5. You can see the back is 1, so 2.5. But if you have a fuller neck, please use 3. Don't use 2.5. This is because I'm very slim. For slimmer person, if you want your queen neck to sit like that, please use 2.5 on your neck. So but if you are fuller, you can use 3 or 3.5. So that when you use 2.5, you won't be too choky on that part of your neck. That's what I'm trying to explain here. So that is the effect. If you want your queen neckline to be deformed, I don't like to expose my cleavage. That's why you see my cleavage is not showing. So do what works for you. You can see I'm really emphasizing on that neck that part. So this is the sleeve. If you look at it very well, it's a bit puffy. I did a bit of pleat on it. But if you want to make yours fuller, you can do slash and spread method. There's what they call slash and spread method. If you don't know how to do that, let me know. I would explain on the comment section. If you look carefully on this video, you see that there's a pleat on my shoulder, on the shoulder of the sleeve. That's the cap of the sleeve. So that is it for that. But for this part, you can see I have the belt at the side. And also look at my zipper. You can, if you look at it very well, it's not budgy. The sleeve, the zip just sits very well, just the way the backbone is sitting very well. It's not budging on my butt part. Everything is coming out very well. Everything comes out very well, and you can see how neat it is. So that is what you get when you follow the process that I mentioned earlier when we were drafting. So guys, I think that'll be all for now. So for this part of the bus, if you want to pad, please do pad if you want to pad, but because it's a tutorial, that is why I didn't pad. You can see it's a bit free on that part of my bust. So guys, tell me what you think on the comment section, and also if you haven't subscribed on my YouTube channel, please kindly subscribe and hit on the notification bell, and please follow me on Instagram at ORIANA Couture, so you can also get some other tips, some style inspiration. And so this is me, I'm just trying to belt it up, and then you can see how fine it is. The more I tighten it, the more my waist is being snatched and the zipper part is not disturbed. So that is it. All right, so that will be all for now for this video. Thank you so much everyone for staying to the end of this video. I really appreciate, and see you on my next video. Please, if you have any question, do not forget to comment on the comment section, and also hit on the notification bell. So that'll be all for this video. Thank you so much for staying to the end of this video. Bye.